I know the Super Bowl was last weekend, but it's never too early to start talking about fantasy football. Now, for all the new fantasy football players out there, there are a couple things you need to know. I'm going to run through them in this quick video just so you guys can be successful and not feel dumb when you're playing and losing to all your friends. A couple things you need to know about are you need to know your league. You need to know what you're going to do before the draft. You need to know how to go about using your player management. And if somehow you make it into the playoffs, you need to know what you're going to do then. All right, first off, know your league. There are four types of leagues. There's standard, there's points per reception, there's IDP, which is individual defensive players, and there's custom. These are how the scoring works. The standard is preset. Scoring is what it is, and your players all score, and it keeps track of it for you. In a PPR league, as a wide receiver gets a reception, it counts that as points. So you want to draft receivers that get more balls thrown their direction as opposed to people who put up more yards. In an IDP league, individual defensive players, you need to know, what players, as opposed to picking a whole defense, you need to know what players get a good amount of tackles, get some interceptions, some fumbles going your way, give you some more points. In a custom league, that's pretty much just what you and your buddies want. The league I play in, to make it easy, we have touchdown, 7 points, and just simple stuff like that to make it easier for you. Now, once you go into the draft, you need to know what kind of league you are. Like I said, if it's PPR league, you're going to want to look for receivers to get a lot of receptions. If it's an IDP, you need to think about entire defenses as opposed to just picking a team defense. You need to put a good amount of time in research. You need to look at players who did well in the past seasons. You need to look at players who their numbers are starting to go up on the rise. You need to check teams who's had, their number one, say that a team's number one receiver retired, that means that number two is going to step up this year. So you need to think about things like that as you go towards your draft. Player management throughout the season, say, like this year, Brian Hartline had a game where he had like 230 receiving yards. Pick him up that week. As soon as you see that, mid-game, if you see him like that and you know that he is a free agent, pick him up and then try and trade him for, somebody who will fill a hole that you have on your team. Because he'll have the hot name that week, he'll have the hot hand, and everybody's going to want him, and they'll overpay for him like crazy. Now, if you're going to have a trade, don't be afraid to involve multiple parties. Grab a couple of guys you want from a couple of different teams and try and make it work between all y'all. And the last thing in season is you need to play matchups, not your players. You want to start a running back against a weak defense as opposed to Adrian Peterson if he's playing a strong defense. He might not look as flashy on your lineup card, but he'll get you more points. Now, if you make it to the playoffs, the playoffs are the last couple of weeks of the regular season. You need to be conscientious of teams sitting their starting quarterback, that are already in the playoffs. If there's a team that really has to make a push for the playoffs, you got to think about that because their players are going to be putting up bigger numbers. And the last piece of advice, when you're playing a player, go by your gut. If you think he's going to have a good game, start him. What's there to hurt? Now, I hope this helps you guys in your next seasons. This is Corey. Have a good day.